I mean, if it does rain, it's not gonna like rain for hours and hours and hours. It's just spotty showers, I think. So, 95 miles to Duluth. Gone 302.4 miles. We're at a half a tank of gas, but I'm betting on cheaper gas in Duluth. Seems like there's a big variation for the price of gas, even in one county. I wonder why that is. Older car. I remember Eric got a Mustang when he got it. We were like in high school and he got a Mustang. It was a 70s car, but it was the 80s. It was like probably was a 1970s car, but it was in the 80s, and he got a Mustang. It was green. I think it was green too. That's what, maybe the color of that car reminded me of it or something. Now those cars are all in the junkyard. 1970s cars. Fishless. Oh, I wonder what's on that.
Real cold, I need you on your
Oh, different channel all of a sudden. Oh, we drove out of the area.
What a surprise, what a great honor to be able to say, hi, Mindy Ratner, thanks for joining me.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time
since
since
we
you were
sat
on
down to do some really needed business.
That's right.
And that is to encourage you on this last day of the fiscal year to make a contribution to support your classical NPR. You can do it.
I'm the hostess with the mostest, Brett Navy. As I get comfortable in the mainstream studio, consider this your cordial invitation to enjoy some great music with me before the hour is up. We'll be enjoying tracks from the sober junkie, retro rocker J.D. McPherson. Salvation floating.
The Colorado I-70 corridor. And he'd been talking about the cuts and not happy about them. And then we heard about the Rural Transformation Fund that the Senate has been working on to sort of help offset the cuts. And he leaned over and he just scoffed. He just said, that's just not going to be enough. So I think that there's a lot of concern out there in rural America.
Give us some details about some of the types of ways in which rural hospitals could be impacted. Like, I guess I'm trying to figure out how these cuts would work and what they would mean for patients.
Well, for rural hospitals, they're specifically already on the line. We've had more than 150 hospitals that have either closed completely or shut down their inpatient beds since 2010, according to UNC Sheps in North Carolina. Another 267 rural hospitals have closed their obstetrics units from 2011 to 2021. So these hospitals are already, showing signs of duress underneath the current health system economics, if you will. And really, Congress has acknowledged this over the years, passing a new Rural Emergency Hospital Act a couple of years ago, trying to help shore up these hospitals.
Now, Senate Republicans have proposed adding a $25 billion fund for rural hospitals specifically, but Sarah, is that enough money to actually bridge the gap in funding that we're seeing here?
I'm hearing from the experts and organizations that it is absolutely not. The National Rural Health Association estimates that it's only 43% of what is needed for rural hospitals to offset the cuts coming in the Senate proposal. And even worse, that Rural Transformation Fund won't just go to rural hospitals. It'll go to health clinics and federally qualified healthcare centers, community mental health and opioid treatment centers too, by their estimates. So they really don't think it's enough to offset it. I should note that I was talking to the chief lobbyist at the National Rural Health Association this morning. They like the idea of a rural transformation fund because rural America needs that. They need new ways of thinking about how to provide care in rural America, what kind of providers there should be, but it definitely doesn't offset the cuts coming to the program.
The White House put out a fact sheet yesterday making the point that the bill will not cut Medicaid. This fact sheet calls it a myth that the bill will close rural hospitals. How do you parse those claims?
Yeah, so when you talk to anybody from, say, Georgetown or some of the other experts out there, they have analyzed the numbers of who's using Medicaid in rural America, say moms, working age adults. These are patients of these hospitals. And if you decrease the number of people receiving Medicaid in rural areas, then you're going to decrease the amount of revenue the hospitals and clinics get because they just have less paying patients. But also there are some other provisions in the bill that experts have analyzed as far as work requirements and the provider taxes and state-directed payments. Those all do hit rural America in different ways, especially the expansion states. So, as a reporter, when I'm parsing it, I call the experts and I ask them questions, and they tell me that it's going to hurt these hospitals in these rural communities.
Sarah, as you pointed out, rural hospitals have been on the decline for years, with many having closed in the last few decades, even more facing risk of immediate closure.